going on, brother?
Oh, let the holiday weekend commence.
That's what I'm saying.
Dude, when people are like open the markets on Sunday or on Monday for a holiday, I want to fight them.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm with you.
Just let me have my 3 days, man.
That's what I'm saying.
It's just 3 days. Plus, like we were talking about today, it gives you time to, do some extra shit, dig into some stuff, figure out what's what, like, it's what we need sometimes.
Or just hang out by the damn pool or something.
I know, I wish I was there because that sounds lovely.
Yeah, we're going to go get some Mexican after this.
Perfect. All right, well, we're going to chop up some trades, focus on some losers today, how we could do better going forward. It's a tough week.
It really was, man. It was a tough week for stocks.
It was. Well, anyway.
For us, at least.
Hell yeah. All right, so I need about 30 seconds to get some screenshots ready. So in the meantime, intro.
Go ahead.
All right, so I want to put this out there too. If this music in the background is too loud for anybody out there, let us know. We will turn it down. We're both in a little bit of a pre-celebratory holiday weekend mood.
That's
That's
right.
why it's a little louder than normal probably. But anyway,
I've had it
all right.
blasting in here, man.
It's good music. I like the little, anyway. All right, so let's just jump into some stuff. You have SHPH that you're going to talk about too, right?
Yep, that was a fat loser for me.
Same. All right, so let's do that one first because this sucked. This was my biggest loss of the week. Like,
Yep,
it is
same
what it
here.
is. So, but before we jumped on here, we were talking about it, right? And we were both like, we would take the trade again. The setup was there. It just didn't work, and sometimes that happens. However, I didn't play this as well as I could have. I definitely could have played this a little bit better. So all right. I never have a whole day's charts. After I enter and exit, I take my screenshot and I move on. But I do have a daily that I'm going to show with this.
I've got the whole day chart from mine.
Okay.
I screenshot it at the end of the day. Like, after this one, I had to just walk,
Yeah. So we
I think
both
I
struggled
mentioned
with
it in
this
the
one.
room. I was like, man, I went heavy on this one,
I did too. So I've been doing more, anywhere between 2 and 4 entries depending on the setup. So this was one of those. However, I was full size here, doubled up here, not doubled, but added here, soldier added as they call it. But anyway, I hit the open and I was a little overly biased, and I'm going to show why here in a second. It had
It
this
was a
nice.
good setup, man. It was a good setup.
It was, and all right. So I hit it at open, right? And I'm going to show why I did that. I don't normally hit open with a lot of size, but on this one I was a little overly convicted. Anyway, it had a nice fake breakout candle, and we both like fake breakout candles. I think I tried to get executed, if I remember right. Didn't get executed.
Yeah, I didn't get filled. I was already full size myself, but I was gonna just try to add a little bit. I went ahead and located more shares, and
Yeah. Yep. Well, I thought this was a low volume pop, right? Little pop, pretty low volume in comparison to some of these other candles.
our charts are very similar.
Yeah, so I felt pretty good about that. Well, there was a fairly nice daily level up in this area. Not great. And again, I'm going to show the daily. So I, added up quickly because I was oversized and this candle did this move with some pretty big volume. I got pretty like, oh shit. So I covered some, de-risked a little bit, and then it started to what I thought maybe was it, and then boom. So it took me out. Pretty big loss. Biggest one I've had all week, but it happens. However, while I would take the trade again, I could definitely do it better. So one thing I want to touch on is we talk about fake breakouts a lot, right? We like hitting fake breakouts. But for me, this is a massive, massive red flag that it did this and didn't break down. Like, if it does a fake breakout move, I want to see the breakdown following that. Didn't do that.
I think we were just both overly biased on this one.
For sure. Because I could have fully exited right here for break even. I could have been done. And in hindsight, I should have been done when this candle didn't kill the stock. This should ideally kill it on a good setup. It didn't happen.
Big volume candle too.
Yep. So I was, like you said,
Biggest
overly
volume
convicted.
candle of the day. No, take that back. Take that back. It was not the biggest volume candle of the day.
Let's see. Yes. That is exactly why.
And the biggest volume candle of the day was actually where I got out at. Which I'm going to show my chart too. But yeah, Wealth Dean, the gap stats on it. I'm trying to remember. I think it had pretty good gap stats.
Well, I'm about to show the daily, which has the gap stats on it. And this is what I was going to talk about. Let's see. I'm going to turn the music down just a hair.
And not all good. I mean, just because it was a good setup doesn't mean it's going to work. You know, like, you have to lose, and you have to know how to lose. You know, I mean, I know that's rhetorical, you know, or just it goes without saying, but
no, you definitely do. So this is why I think we were, or at least me, we were overly convicted. Yes.
And it's so much easier to lose. Like, I've been having a good year. You've been having a good year. It's easier to lose, you know, when you've been having a good year. I know for me at least, like when I'm having a tough time, it's harder to lose.
Yeah, for sure. It gets in your head.
It damn sure does.
But this is the daily, right? So the gap stats above 20%, it's had 3, and it's failed every time. And actually, this candle here, that is the day I played this stock. And as you can see, it did gap up big, ran up, and it failed. It closed red on the day. So it followed suit. I just poorly played it. And these red lines, put them here for a reason. So the first red line was my first set of entries. And I'm sitting here looking at this, and I'm like, why? Why did I do that? Not the greatest entries. This is where I got overly convicted. Not a great spot. If I'd have waited until 2, makes a little bit more sense. Hold dollar level, struggle a little bit here, bottom of this candle here with some volume, makes more sense. Same here. However, if you look at the top out, now again, this is all hindsight, but if you look at the top out, that makes perfect sense. Tons of failed follow through in that area, including a gap day with volume, more volume. Makes much more sense. I was just hella early, overly convicted, like you said, and it created my biggest loss of the week, probably month. Pretty positive on that. But great setup with good gap stats. I just was impatient and I was early. And these lines show that. Like, these bottom 2 were my first set of entries. And, you know, I mean, it had a nice run and closed red on the day. I just played my hand too early. Like, if you're a poker player, right? It is what it is.
It's like poker, man.
Yep. So
I always like to compare it to poker.
Good gap stats.
And I'll show mine too.
Yeah, and I like the setup, and I would take it again. I just took it too early with too much size, and by the time I had added in, anyway, yeah, you go ahead, because you're right.
Same way with me, man. But I mean, I saw a little level that I liked, and I thought this was just going to fade. You know, this is a name we've seen.
So I'm glad you have yours with the pre-market, because that makes more sense why I was hitting 170 the way I was, because that was the pre-market high.
I was hammering it here, like in pre-market. I just felt like this was the spot. I don't usually get in pre-market, but I felt like this was the spot.
No, I just like the fact that yours shows pre-market, because mine didn't, because that must have been why I was hitting 170 the way I was hitting 170.
Yeah, hopefully that shows. You know, I don't my color scheme. I don't have it. It's just light gray because I don't like it to be like white. You know, but it's you can see the pre-market line here. That's the open. You know, and I was very convinced, especially after it made this little shove, this little wick at open. I was like, that's it, man. And so right here, I'm up pretty good. And I was like, like we always talk about, I'm not getting faked out here into this fake breakout move. I wanted to add into that. I was kind of anticipating it, but I'm thinking this is going to be a huge win. Wound up being my biggest loss of the week. This is about $200 shy of a max loss.
Yep. Mine was a ticker max loss because I got the ticker max loss and then the daily max loss. Mine was a ticker max loss, and I'm pretty sure I put that out, into the room. It is what it is. Like I said, the setup was solid. Like, I really, looking at your chart now, I'm like, damn, like the 250 to 270 area, even before this chart formed on the daily, was much nicer than the areas we were getting in. But again, I would have predicted the stock to go this high based on historical performance. And it's just one of those times when you're wrong, and we cut it for a loss, and it didn't blow us up per se. So,
yeah, man. I'm not worried about it. It happens, and I mean that's kind of why we're doing this on losses this week, because I feel like we're always talking about wins and always hyped up, which it's part of it.
Yeah, losses are part of the game.
You gotta show the real shit, man. We can't be.
And that's why I wanted to talk about Loser Say too, because if you go on FinTwit, it's nothing but perfect charts, top ticks, winners. That's all you see, and that's fine, but it's just not reality with these stocks.
Exactly, man. And I have no problem showing this. I mean, like I said, this is a pretty heavy loss for me. I don't like losing that much money. Nobody does, but I mean, I'm trying to make a living doing this shit. It sucks when it happens, but that's what it is, man.
And if we wouldn't have had a max loss in place or a ticker max loss, we could have kept fighting this the whole way up.
I don't fight them anymore. That's something I've learned, and same way with today. I'm ELEV or whatever ticker.
Same.
Yep. I clocked out early, called it a day. I traded futures. I had a good day there, but
Did it exceed the average gap percent? I'd have to go back and look at the daily. I don't know if the gap percent exceeded the average because it wasn't a massive gap. Problem was the run up after the gap, like after open, that exceeded the average. Absolutely.
Yeah, and this is like a recent IPO.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of history on this, which is always a red flag. It only had 3 gaps. Ideally a perfect gap where you're going to see 5 to 10 with 90% plus failure rate. That's much better. So overly convicted on something that we shouldn't have been overly convicted on. But again, I'm not saying I wouldn't take the trade again. Very well may, and it closed red technically. But anyway, it is what it is. Oh, sorry.
My bad.
Oh yeah, you can.
Absolutely.
We've talked about this a lot. Stocks in general can severely disconnect you from money. We can watch our P&L fluctuate hundreds of dollars in seconds, and we don't blink an eye. And in reality, that's crazy, absolutely crazy. But conservatively, if we could make even 500 a day, right, on average, which sounds like a lot, but we've been doing this for a while, and we've had losses bigger than that. We've had wins bigger than that, and conservatively $500 here and there. Like I said, we don't really. It sounds hoity, but we don't really blink at a couple hundred flashing on the P&L real quick. We've been at it for a while, but yeah, I mean, $500 a day across a month. I mean, you do that math. We've talked about it before, like a good hourly rate for a working person, right? Like,
yeah, just ask yourself what is for, and I mean, it depends on where you live. If you live in, like me, in Alabama, or if you live in California or New York, I mean, what hourly rate, what's a good hourly rate for a comfortable income. What is it, $50 an hour, $25 an hour, $100 an hour, whatever that is, and think about what you can make on trading.
Yeah, we compared it before. I think $50 an hour was what the number we used last time. Like that's a huge hourly rate. We could see 50 plus or minus flash on the P&L in literal
seconds every day. Yeah.
But if you average even, I don't know, 250 to let's just say 300 a day times 5, 1,500 a week. That's pretty good money, extra money. And then, you continue to build on that. It doesn't happen overnight. It will go slow. If you could ever cross, we both lost or gained over 6 figures in our lifetime of doing this.
Absolutely.
No, there's plenty of good setups, and again, that's where back testing and or paper trading if you wanted to get into that. But that's just where back testing and what experience come into play, right? For you to find your set. I mean, really, if we sit down most days, we can find a singular setup. And that's one thing.
Yeah, we can find a setup every day, and kind of to answer your question too, it also just depends on how smart you are with it and how quick you catch on. Because I tell everybody, before I became profitable, I've been doing this like
some years.
Yeah, I mean steadily, I'd say 4 years, but realistically, I started around 2017. But I mean, it cost me about $200,000. My own money, real money, before I became profitable. I tell everybody that. I mean, I put myself in debt. I made my life really, really hard for a long time before I became profitable. I mean, it was rough. It was really rough. Used to this chart, it wouldn't have looked like this. I would not have eaten this loss. I would not have had a max loss in place. Granted, I stopped out before it hit it because, I mean, I just knew I knew I would have hit it. Then I'm locked out, and I think I might have taken. I think I was in another trade, and then I'd be out of that trade too. Which the other trade was a small win, but I wouldn't have had a max loss in place. And instead of eating the loss I did, I might be eating a 5K loss or a 10K loss, whatever it winds up being. It wouldn't be that much, but you get what I'm saying.
Right. Potential, yeah, absolutely. But that's the thing. There's, like you've mentioned it, small caps, you got futures, options, large caps, etc. You could venture into any one of those by themselves and make 6 figures, $1 million, millions. That just depends on capital size and how you do. You could lose millions, 6 figures, 5 figures on any one of those. But yeah, there's no. Let me see. What else you got? You guys answered my question. Oh yeah, of course, man.
Absolutely. That's what we're trying to do. We enjoy doing it. And
you could venture into any one of those and make or lose millions of dollars in any one of those categories. Small caps, you can get into liquidity problems if you have a massive account and there is lack of volume. You don't normally run into that in large caps or futures. However, to be completely real with you, we don't have massive accounts where that's a problem for us on most stocks. There's some occasions where we get into some liquidity issues on some stocks, but we try to avoid the illiquid stuff where the volume and can be a problem.
Volume is king.
Yeah, amen. Don't do options. Well, Dean, yeah, he's played with options, and yeah, it's tough. That's a whole nother world I don't know nothing about.
Yeah, man, and I don't know anything about it either. I just pretty much I play with futures just because I can trade it like the SPY, whatever. But
yeah. So this is, and I don't have my screenshot on the actual chart. This is from TraderSync, and I love TraderSync. Use them every day. That's how I journal my stuff.
Shout out to TraderSync.
Exactly. This was OCEA. What's I got? Always live. Oh, appreciate that, man. We try so hard.
Man. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
We really do. We appreciate every bit of it.
Yeah, absolutely. and I think I even tag because you in TraderSync you can tag your setups, right? You can tag a setup, you can tag your mistakes, you can do all that stuff. I'm 90% certain in TraderSync, my tag on this literally says no setup. Um, I could be wrong about that. Either way,
what is this ticker?
this is OCEA.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh man, I remember that one from a few months ago. Just
yeah.
destroying
Well, I have it daily, and I'm going to show the daily again because we reference the daily on everything we trade. Any stock, we're always looking at multiple
Is that a
time
China
frames.
name?
I feel like it is. Yes, I think so. Um, anyway, you see where I, took the loss, got back in, curled back up, cut immediately because I wasn't going to fool with it no more. So I'm happy with the risk management. And I'm not saying this wasn't a setup because I see it did gap up. So it must have been a day one gapper. However, and I was getting into it here. Let me pull up the daily and show why not every gapper is created equal.
Not
That
at
was a
all.
shitty day one gapper. This is why. Look at this daily. It's all over the freaking place. This just looks like a China name. I'm pretty sure it's a China name.
It looks
But
like a China name. It really
Yeah.
does.
I mean, in one day, this thing went from 3 to about 6, so up 100%. And the very next day, it went from 7.5 all the way to 25, so up like thousands of percent. Whatever crazy percentages, and the daily is just all over the place. I was into this thing on this gap here, and I may have gotten in around this area, so not a bad spot to give it a shot, whatever. But when I see this daily, these are the type of dailies that I should wait for outlier levels, like right up in here with the failed follow through on multiple occasions. That's where I should have waited. And had I waited, again, failed follow through, it got here and it went all the way back down. I just have to be better going forward at being patient on especially things like this. I'm not saying this isn't a setup or not something I would take in the future. But if I would have waited for outlier levels, it would have been a nice trade. And I've said before in the room, and I think to you, that it's better to wish you weren't in or it's better to wish you were in a stock than you weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that, man. I say that to myself all the time.
Yeah. I'd rather wish I was in it than to wish I wasn't. Because if I wish I wasn't in it, that means I'm taking losses and not trading well or whatever. But this is one that
you're sweating and you're sitting there and you're like, son of a bitch, what am I gonna do now?
Yes. But damn, looking at this daily, some really nice failed follow through above 10 multiple times. In this day with pretty massive volume.
Huge volume, biggest volume ever, it looks like.
Yeah. 60 million traded. And had I been patient, and had I waited for an outlier level when the daily looks like this would have been a beautiful trade that could have paid really nice. But instead, I got in early, got burned.
You got to think of those huge volume levels. So many people are bagged there. So.
Yep. And I was impatient and I was early. And my thing for the last couple of weeks is I'm gunslinging a little bit, playing too many stocks. I'm being impatient. So I got to get back to, and that's what I said today in the room towards the end of the day or midday when I left or whatever. I was like, I got to hone back in on my A+ setups, focusing on what I know, what's got me here, and leaving this other shiny object bullshit alone.
That's why I've been, locking it up, man, even when I have losses. And that was a super hard lesson for me to learn, especially. I mean, even last year, I still had this problem, like we said, been doing this a while, but it's still been a problem for me. I might be up, I might be up $1,500 in the morning and I'm like, all right, yeah, good. And then next thing you know, I'm trading it. Here's a $500 loss. And by the end of the day, I've got $50 profit. And then after locates, I'm negative. Yep. It's like, what kind of day is that? I can't tell you how many Fridays I've done that. So today, I had my little trade on. I'll show it real quick too, if you don't mind.
No, yeah, show it, because from here I was going to show a couple things that I've talked about it before on numerous of these things. It's like my favorite setup, one of my favorite setups. And anyway, I'll get into that.
Oh, I mean, I'm with you. And this one had a pretty decent daily level too.
We both traded this one today.
Yep. And I didn't hit the opening print. It's hard for me to do. That would have been great if I did. It made that little, immediate stuff blow off right there at open, right under 6.
I did catch that. I know you saw it in the room.
Yeah, I know.
I caught that, but then I botched the second half of the trade and kind of ruined it. But anyway.
I mean, and this is not a loss per se. I didn't go crazy with it. I mean, yeah, I kind of like added into it, but like I got one little top tick ad. But so I'm in full size there. I mean, I didn't have big size just because when I'm hitting a gapper like this on a bounce, I mean, and here I'm up pretty decent. I was going to try to cover it the 5-minute 200. That was my plan. When it made this curl, I was like, son of a bitch. But it held over VWAP. I was like, if this thing gets to, I was saying like 10 cents under my average, then I'm covering. And it was close. But, or no, not 10 cents, excuse me, whatever it was at the time. I was like, I'm covering. Slams here, I'm like, oh, I'm good. Well, curls back up here, I was like, I'm done, I'm out. Just cut it.
This thing was choppy all day.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at what the chart looks like after I usually take a full day picture, but I didn't have it in me today.
I think, to be honest, I'm gonna look while you're talking about this. I'm pretty sure it's above 5 now.
Probably, but I always talk about the 1-minute 200, the 5-minute 200. This thing was slamming under it and then ripping back up to it. I just didn't like the action, and that's what you got to do. I know this is kind of like a somber episode that we're doing, but it's
something that's not talked about enough.
Yeah, I feel like this is necessary. Like I had a good beginning of the week, and the past 3 days were rough. And I don't care. I'll tell anybody. I hit it long here after I saw this. I thought it was going to rip. I thought it was going to rip to 6. I had limit orders in. I was ready. I was like, this thing's going to 6. I'm about to have a big win on the long. It drops here. I had a stop loss 1 cent under the low. I was like, if it hits there, I'm done. I'm walking. It chops around. Man, I went up and walked off when it was doing this. I came back and it was here. I just cut it all right there. I was like, that's it. I'm done.
I don't blame you. That's something we've talked about before too. Like, we're discretionary, and you can discretionarily exit a stock early if your thesis isn't being met. Like if your thesis is it should fade, at this time of day, and it shouldn't have these pops or whatever, and it's just not doing what you expected it to do. Yeah, you might take a minimal gain, or in some cases break even, small loss, whatever. And that's what I should have done on that trade I showed earlier with SHPH, the one that had the fake breakout and held. I should have discretionarily exited when it held to fake breakout held. All those red flags that we know. I just overly biased. But
hey, on this, I broke even, paid for locates plus $6. I don't care. That's
a half a steak burrito.
Exactly, man. That's where we're gonna go get in here in a minute.
Oh.
But yeah, Dean, brother, I know how you feel. This was a choppy one, and
it was, man.
It's hard for me to put myself in the mindset of scalping now because I've transitioned a lot more to like position trading. Like I like to, I'm sure anybody here that watches our videos and stuff, like I usually hold a lot for a portion for a big piece of the move. Like I like to get big fades, deep fades, like 30%ers and stuff like that. But it's just not happening right now. I've been getting hammered.
These reclaims have been stupid. Maybe a quarter of a burrito, depending on how expensive they are.
Oh man, this place by my house, it's not bad. Like we might ride the golf cart there. I don't know. Charles, he's out there hanging by the pool, but he's
country shit.
Yeah, man. I told him to come in here and hang out with us, but you know how he is. He's
Oh,
in
go ahead.
he's in the room too. If
Yeah.
anybody that I'm not going to say his name on here, but his name in the room, but y'all have probably seen him in there. He's he's a damn low key retail whale, but he doesn't want to be seen. So
It's all good. So I'm not going to talk a lot about this. This is old trade, maybe earlier in the week, last week. I don't even know. All I want to show on this is we talk about, right, a fake breakout. So SHPH did the fake breakout and held, whereas this one, fake breakout, failed. That's what we've long. That's what I'd want to see on a fake breakout. When the other one did the fake
this is what we
breakout and
like.
held, yeah, this is what we want after a fake breakout. That's the move we want. But when that one SHPH did this and held, that's like, all right, this ain't doing what I thought it should do. I should have got out. I didn't. That's where growth comes in. But anyway, I just want to show that real quick.
Exactly.
But
they usually work, man. But like I
do.
saw Thiz talking about this the other day on Twitter, and he's so right. It's like just about you got to be fluid with the market. You know, just about the time that you notice a change and you adapt to it, well, it's changing again. So
that's why I like doing data tracking.
And that's kind of what happened with me this week. Is like I've noticed, like I've been having some pretty big wins like the past couple of weeks on like these deep fades, and then this week I do good at the beginning of the week, and then I get hammered at the end of the week. So,
and for me, you know, from March, which was almost 3 months ago now, ever since the bank stuff happened in March, I had a killer March because of the bank stuff.
Oh yeah, dude, those are nasty. Those trades you had on the
and I was hitting all of them. I was trading all of them. I was all over the place. Screens going crazy. And I just felt like I was in this zone, right? And everything was just clicking and hitting and working. But that time has passed, and I'm still living in that time, and that time is not now. So I have to readjust and focus on plays like this, because this type of play is what's got me to where I am now. And these are the type of plays that I've told new traders that you can eat off of.
Not only are you the volume king, you are Mr. Gap and Crap. Like you hit this so well.
Like, and this is what I want. Like, and again, the screenshot sucks, but like to the left of this thing went way higher, and then it faded pretty hard. And this is, for me, this is like Gap and Crap 101. You have the huge spike, it fades down below VWAP. And instead of trying to focus in on these day one gappers with strength and all day runners and these things that I don't play well, like this is a weak stock. It had a huge jump, it fell off, it's holding below VWAP, which is a sign of weakness. So I hit it here because I just assumed it wasn't even a crack VWAP and just fade. I took it again on the morning, popped the VWAP. I was already full size, so I didn't add. I was literally risking like 7% above VWAP because that's a statistical thing for me. And then boom. And this is what I see all the time on these setups is quick pop, maybe swipe above VWAP, and then just failure.
What did you say that percentage was again?
For me, it's about usually 5 to 7. On these low price stocks, though, I usually have to go between 7 and 10 because, you know, on the low price stocks, your percentages can swing massive real quick.
Yeah, man, it's skewed.
Yeah, but even on all my data tracking, the sweet spot is right around 7%. At least in my data tracking that I've done on these setups. If I risk 7% above VWAP, the win, and this is before, it has to happen before 10 a.m. But if that falls into place before 10 a.m., 7% above VWAP, the win rate on that is pretty nice. And that is also with a 3-1 risk reward. This is by far my best setup, the one I've done the most testing on, the one I've got the most experience with. In my opinion, the easiest one to play. It's a weak stock. I'm not trying to short reversions on strength or all these, like, this is a bread and butter play.
It really
These
is,
are like
man.
my thing. And where I have been massively, excuse my language, fucking up this week is I have not been focusing on those plays. Case in point, there's been 3 of those this week I've missed. And here's one from today. This is a picture perfect Gap and Crap. The only problem with this is the gap wasn't above 30%. I think it opened around 25, but pretty damn close.
It's
Oh,
hard.
sorry.
It's hard for me to
What do you
hit
say?
those. It is hard for me to hit those.
7 above VWAP, 7% above VWAP. For my time, I'm central. Market opens at 8:30. I want it to happen before 10 my time, so 11 market time.
Same here.
If it's a slow grind into it later in the afternoon, or even a slow grind into it before 10 my time, it's not as favorable. I want more of a parabolic move into that, like this. This is what I want. This is perfect. And I was a little tilted today that I didn't hit this. I had it on watch, and I was messing with that ELEV, which was not a A+ setup. This is fucking A+. This pisses me off just looking at this chart. Not gonna lie to you. It really pisses me off. But perfect setup, man. Huge gap. Failed pretty early. Opened weak. Like opened here. Perfect pair move to VWAP. Perfect failure and fade. This would have been a nice 15 to 20% winner. Low stress. I'd have been done with the trade probably right in this area. I usually like to cover these pre 10, 11 o'clock as well. I mean, damn.
Yeah, man, that was.
What's it? Sorry, that's why I'm confused.
He said it didn't get over. Let's see here.
It didn't get over. It doesn't have to get over VWAP.
Preferably, you want like a VWAP just touch.
Yeah, you want the kiss of death at VWAP. That's preferential. This one didn't quite hit it, but I mean, this is a lot of times if you look at my old gap and crap execution charts, you might see where I get in some here, and then some here. I might enter in a little before VWAP, especially if it opens this week, because they don't even always make it to VWAP. So I'm not always gonna let them hit VWAP before I take a position.
Yeah, and for some of you guys that are in the room, like, you go ahead.
Sorry, we talking 7% above VWAP? No, not in pre-market. I'm talking about after I've entered in the. So I don't normally trade much pre-market. So after open, let me see what you got. So 7% time I kept answering. That's what's confusing me. The 7% I'm talking about. Let me just look at this. So if I take this trade here, right? And I'm full size right here, or any gap and crap setup, what I'm usually willing to risk on these setups is 7% above VWAP. So I have a calculator I keep pulled up on this other screen, percent change calculator. And I'm going to put whatever the price is at VWAP plus 7%, figure out what that difference is, calculate my shares out accordingly, because I always have an obscure share amount based on the dollar risk level I'm willing to tolerate. But as far as the 7%, it's 7% above VWAP after open, and that's just from my own personal back testing. Like on all the stocks I back tested, I would take them and basically say, okay, if they crack above VWAP, what's the average percent they would go above VWAP? And that was around the sweet spot that I was finding. I'm probably giving away. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to dilute nothing.
Oh, hey, man, yeah, I was gonna touch on that too. I've seen a lot of talk on FinTwit, Twitter, whatever about diluting an edge or whatever. Man, you can't.
And this is why I like gap and craps too, is because a lot of people aren't looking at these. These aren't the shiny objects of the day.
Do you believe in diluting an edge from sharing it?
Maybe on stocks that are float 500K or maybe 1 million at most. Like, no, not really.
I don't believe in diluting an edge because of just from my own experience. Like when I was trying to trade somebody else's system, I cannot execute somebody else's system.
Oh no, it's not your bad. I'm bullshit.
No, dude, no. I mean, you can only trade your. I mean, I'm not a system trader, but like I have a system, a process.
No, he's talking about my bad because I'm talking about diluting. You're not gonna do that.
No, dude.
And that's why I'm saying this live. Anybody could watch. 1 million people could watch this, and I would feel very confident that this setup is going to replicate itself time after time after time, and I would not be concerned about it because yes, you can't always execute someone else's system flawlessly. Human emotion is a mother.
Yeah, man, gap and
So,
craps are tough for me. Like I hit them sometimes, but never with the conviction you do. I'm more like short into extension kind of guy, you know, and it's hurt me sometimes, but it's
and, you know, I like to do the same thing, especially on strong daily levels. But we've talked about before, some of the best short sellers we know they're
wait
going
for
after
resistance to
weakness.
be. Yeah,
Yeah,
they wait for resistance, which
that's
that's smart.
smart, right? And they're going after weakness. And as a short seller, you want weakness, and that's what they're waiting on. And those gap and craps present that. They're
The
opening
golden
weak.
question though, what is weakness?
Yeah, and like, what is backside? When is backside? What is backside? No one knows. Everyone guesses. But all you can do is take the trade with a good risk reward, put your stop in, set your targets, and let that shit ride. Just
That's right. People
back it up
say,
with data or whatever. But
you know,
yes,
you talk about, you know, the whole conversation of, well, is it gambling? And I've talked to you about this. My family, you know, they hate what a lot of them hate what I do. They say it's gambling, and I say, I mean, is it gambling if it's back tested and what you're doing is probable? I mean, that's like saying it's gambling to drive to work in the morning in your
yeah,
car.
we found a statistical edge, and then we trade discretionarily around that statistical edge. Um, but you know, the stuff that I was talking about with gap and crap, that's from years. Some guys I've shared my what up, Robin?
Hey, I think that's Birdie, man. What's up, dog?
Oh shit, what up, Bird?
Free bird.
Um, but that gap and crap that I was talking about, like I've shared out my 2022 spreadsheet with some guys, but I got years of spreadsheets on that setup where I've back tested it manually. Anyway, yeah,
Birdie,
man,
glad to have you here, brother.
it is Birdie. Birdie's a
That's what I
stud,
thought.
man. He's a good trader.
Dude, Birdie is a badass trader. I love talking to Birdie during the day. I'm glad to have him in there. We got some killer guys in the room, man. It's been fun. It's fun to have some real good guys in there, and you know, people learning, people talking, cutting up. It's nice, you know, especially when you're sitting at your desk all day. And
Oh, for sure. Some guys have talked about us getting on the mic, and we will. We will. One of
yeah,
us
I'm
will.
working on
Both of us
working
will.
on the live channels. You know,
We'll get
Craig
there.
usually handles most of the YouTube stuff, and I'm trying to work on the room as much as I can. I was going to try to live stream my trade ideas, but the way I have my graphics cards set up on my PC, I was going to do it today, but it's sharing I have my graphics card set up to think that my 3 monitors are one monitor. So yeah, man, it looked terrible. I tried
I can
to
share mine, and I did it the one day. We'll have to find out if it's helpful or not. But anyway,
if you go and like change your NVIDIA settings like I did, it makes it to where it thinks, you know, I have 3 verticals. That's all I have. It thinks it's one monitor now, so it's either sharing the whole screen or just one piece of the TI, like just a Paris scanner or just a Gapper scanner. But I'm working on it, and we'll have it better, you know, for anybody else that wants to come. You know, like we've said before, you know, we've got the room, and anybody that watches through the videos this long is more than welcome to come to it. It's you know, we got a good little group of guys there, and happy to help anybody new.
Yeah, I'm doing a thing with Wealthy this week. I'm gonna go through some of the scans with them. I'm gonna
that's a little
go
Discord
through.
link in the comments, but we'll post it in the stuff when we post this video up.
And if it's expired, you're watching this in the future, our Twitter handles are below our names, and you can DM us via Twitter, and we will
Hit
get
us
you
up, man.
said
We're happy to
information.
talk to anybody.
Yeah, Wealthy, and I'll teach you what I know. No
Hey,
promises.
There's nobody better to learn from than you, man. Just from me and you being friends, I've gotten better.
Well, same. So, and that's one thing I want to touch on this video too. I used to be more of a one shot in, one shot out. In the last year or two, I've progressed more away from that, giving me more margin for error, and that was just something I've, you know, picked up on from you. Like, Learning stuff from
Hey,
other
thanks,
people
man.
and getting information from others and sharing information. And I mean, that's key, man. Like, so key, especially in a thing that can be so lonely as trading.
It really can be, and yeah, and that's a good little point. Is the multiple entries. If you're using a broker that has high commissions, it's different. But if you've got rebate routes like what we use and stuff like that, it doesn't matter.
The power of
Executions,
Cobra.
exactly, man. Cobra, badass brokerage. Um, it's you really you really using them is going to up your game absolutely.
Do you
And
have another? Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, I
Do you
was
have
just
another chart?
yeah, I have one more. If
Same.
I'll show and we'll post this too. This is your link. Just anybody wanting to sign up, we got this little discount link for Cobra, and we're not biased because we both use them. We both got accounts with them.
I think the common conception with them is they're unfortunately the best. Yeah, amen. Because I've been trading more of the subbies lately, and it does suck, especially when you got to locate tens of thousands of shares to make a buck because they're so cheap. But
Hey,
part of the game.
but nothing is cheap. You know what I mean?
No,
It's
yeah. He just, I
oh
get
no
what
no
he's saying
no.
because
I agree with
it
you,
would
Artie,
be
man.
clutch to have rebates under a buck. Clutch.
Yeah, it would, man. But hey, at least if you're with Cobra, you can trade them. When I was using Trade Zero before I even knew what Cobra was, I remember I had like a 35K account and I was trading with Trade Zero, and I'm like, what the hell? And then I found out about Cobra. I'm like, why the hell am I using this? Like, I'm paying out the ass for locates, dude. There was days where
Hundreds of dollars.
Oh, dude, I remember distinctly. I posted a picture of my face on Twitter last year. I paid $7,000 in locates, and I made around. I think I made like 6,800 on the trade, and this is when I used to gunsling a little more. So, it was a different time, but yeah. I mean, what it sucks. You know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna do with that?
True. Yep. At least with them subbies, you get the free locates or cheap.
Oh yeah, man.
Cheap at the very least.
We're
Real quick.
gonna end on a high note, right?
Yeah, like this was a killer trade, and this is something that we've talked about adapting to the market and what it's been presenting. I've always liked shorting reverse split. Charles likes to do it too.
I wish
Like,
Charles would get his ass in here and talk about his reverse split strategy because
Like,
he's killing it.
Yeah, I love shorting the reverse splits the day after. So a reverse split, right? They take one share and 1 to 100. So one share or 100 shares is converted into one. So if it's trading at 10 cents and they convert it to $1 a share, it's a 10 to 1 or whatever.
What ticker is this?
This was RNAZ, RNAZ.
Oh, dude, I meant to tell you, I had 1,200 shares of that.
And yeah, this was solid.
Yeah, dude, I just covered in the 4s.
Oh yeah, because I almost swung some, and I think I even said to you, I was like, this is probably worthy of a swing. And now
I swung the whole thing, man. I just covered in the damn 4s.
I should have swung some, but this is what's been happening. Yeah, but man, we knew it was coming. I should have swung. I did.
Yeah, Charles. I think the only reason I covered is because he told me he was covering because this is his strat.
Oh yeah, RNAS. Yeah, and this is something we've been seeing with reverse splits. Like, this thing went from 50 cents up to, damn, $5. This was a massive reverse split. But anyway,
massive. I don't remember what the ratio was, but it was huge.
This is what's been happening with the reverse splits, though. The day after, they've had these quick runs and then fade. So this was, in the matter of minutes, a point, pretty high conviction. I think it halted up. Yeah, it did. It halted up. Got in because I think we both entered in after the halt. And I covered all out right around red to green, and you swung like I knew I should have. But that's just something where it's like, the market's been presenting these opportunities over and over and over again for a while now. So I've been catching more and more of them. But at some point, this might stop happening. You might stop getting these pops because I used to short the reverse splits like at open after the reverse split because there would be no pop. These pops after reverse split are relatively new. They didn't used to
Charles,
no
he goes in huge on those and swings them to zero sometimes.
Well, they usually go back to where they started. It's just a matter of time. They're just doing this to stay relevant, to stay listed, NASDAQ compliance rules, whatever. They're piece of shit companies. They always go back where they came from. They're reverse splitting for a reason, and the reason is not positive.
Yeah, and I like he was just Charles and me were just talking about it. He was saying that I mean these things always get punished hard. So
they do. So for me, because you're right, the daily is distorted.
It is.
Because usually the day after the reverse split, the dailies aren't converted for the reverse split, so the levels are absolute shit. For me, when I entered in, based on my share size, it's just a set dollar risk. I usually take them with pretty high conviction. If I lose X amount of dollars, whether it's 500,000 or whatever your tolerated risk level is, excuse me, at that point I'm out. It's just a matter of dollars for me on those plays. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out. But the win rate I've had on those reverse splits the day after for the last year has been nice. However, this little new run up the day after, that's to me new since about April. Like prior to that, they'd reverse split. There would be no pop. They would just fade.
Yep.
So that's a matter of adopting.
I'm not as familiar with it. The only time I've been involved with reverse splits other than this is usually, or I say usually, but a few years ago when I was bag holding one, wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh my God, I'm up all this money. And then next thing you know, oh, never mind. It was a reverse split. I'm fucked.
Average gap on is 40 and it did just, so that wasn't a gapper. We'll talk. That's a reverse split is, yes, on Trade Ideas, it's going to be listed as a gap and usually it's a massive gap, but it's not a gap in the same sense that you're thinking. Or was this not a gap or considered a
It's different.
Yeah,
man, this is a totally different setup.
So actually, me and Wealthy are going to talk about FlashSec this weekend. I'm going to go over some stuff with him in FlashSec. Reverse splits are listed in FlashSec, and I'll show you. We'll pull up RNAS this weekend. Remind me, RNAS this weekend, FlashSec, because you'll see the reverse split in the FlashSec dashboard, I guess you call it. But yeah, it's different. It's a completely different ball game than a para, than a gapper. Trade Ideas will show it as a gapper, but it ain't a gapper. Not a real.
I mean, I kind of think of it more as shorting a weakness, just because if they're splitting like that, then they're screwed.
Yep, and I've caught many reverse splits for me over the past year have been a great short, but these pops the day after, like I said, that they're relatively new.
Yeah,
in the last month or so. We could record it for the YouTube. You're right.
Hey, that's a good idea.
It's a big brain idea.
Big brain right there. Hell yeah, y'all do that. Seriously.
We can do that. We'll work that out.
My wife and son aren't home this weekend, so I'll probably be doing some stuff for the Discord and the YouTube. Me and Charles, we're gonna go eat some Mexican. I don't know what else is gonna go on.
Tequila.
Yeah, dude. Hey, I know we're about over an hour. I will end this on a high note. Just
Oh yeah, we'll record it. Yeah. We'll work that out. We'll set up. Yeah. Anyway.
That's a good ass idea, man.
It really is. It is a good idea.
I really like that.
Two birds, one stone.
I'm gonna show this. This is probably my best trade of the week. I didn't trade as many stocks this week. I had a good week in futures, so like I've said on other stuff, it's easier to lose when you've been having a good year, good month, good week, whatever. And you got to drill that into your head. Even when you're having a bad time, you still got to be good at losing, which has been a problem for me in the past. But I feel like just it comes with experience, and not saying I'm the most experienced guy ever, or that Craig is, or anybody, but it used to be hard for me.
And that's not to cut you off, but we've said this time and time again. Like, and we fought about this on Twitter not too long ago. Not you and I, but you and I with other people, or maybe probably me, because I can't help myself and I hate myself for it sometimes. But like,
I don't, man. You have
the
to do it for
whole
me.
the whole psychology versus having an edge thing. Like, bless it, I will fight it till the day I die. But if you don't have an edge, I don't give a damn what your psychology is like. Like, maybe you have great psychology and you're really good at losing, but if you have no edge, you're always going to lose. And I'm glad you're good at it, but you ain't going to make a damn dime. So
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't mean shit to be good at losing if you have no edge.
yeah, now you got to learn how to get hit in the mouth. You got to learn how to take the licks. It's part of it, but you got to have an edge.
I've not only been hit in the mouth, but I won't even say.
We both been knocked out a time or two.
Oh yeah, I mean I won't get into it, but I've seen negative $30,000 days, and it's not fucking fun. I need to quit. Yeah,
we don't do that no more.
No, man. Like I don't ruin myself anymore. This was a good trade. This was
sick. Yeah, this was so nice.
Yeah, shout out to Thiz, our buddy. He's in the room with us. Excellent trader.
He's a good unbiased trader. That's something I'm not. I can't long for shit. I've said that time and time again. I'm not good at it. I could be short something and be like, damn, I need to get out because this is a good long. But I don't freaking long it. I don't.
Yeah, man. And I think I'm not saying I'm a good unbiased trader, but I do trade the long side too. Thiz is excellent with it. I'm definitely more short biased. You're going to see more charts from me on the short side. I short sell way more than I long. But when I see a good long setup, this is a great long setup. Like we've talked about in the room, it's harder for me to put stuff in words. Sometimes I'm not the most well-spoken guy. You are. I'm not. We talk about it all the time. Thiz is. I'm not. It's sometimes hard for me to put in words what I'm looking for. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just because I'm from Alabama, but this is great. It's a gapper.
Strong gapper too.
Strong. And this thing had halt bands that were super tight because of what it was at the day before. So that's what I liked. And used to, I'd be shorting into something like this. This is not a short here. Low volume pullback. I'm getting in as much as I can long, trying to get the best average I can. That's why I have the most, multiple executions. And I start selling pieces into here. Wound up, getting what I thought was a top tick out of the long, with my last bit. And this ended up going higher, but I didn't care. I was done with it after that point.
Yeah, I'd have walked on that.
Yeah, I think I did, man. This is
I don't blame you.
Trade for me. This was a good one, and that's what I'm trying to get into. Like me and you've been talking about. We both got kids. You've got 2. I've got 1 with another one on the way. I'm trying to finish up early during the day and get the hell out, make your money, and go. That's
like we've said before. Our thing lately has been, increased market exposure. We push more buttons. We take subpar setups, and I like to be. If I could be done by 11, that's my favorite kind of day.
Yeah, fuck the chart. I'm sorry, I gotta.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, don't worry about making a good chart for Twitter, whatever. Just trade the setup and get the hell out and make your money, make your $500, make your $2,000, whatever the hell it is that you don't set a goal, but you know what I'm saying.
Trade to trade well, the money will come as you get better, more confident. You can size up, and the money will grow systematically over time.
Exactly.
You might start with 100 shares, work up to 200, 500,000, and before you know it, and I don't think he would mind me saying this, but our guy, real quick, because I know we're over an hour, but Day Trading Zoo on Twitter, dude is smart as hell, puts a lot of good content out there. He's a systematic, statistical guy, but he had recently had his best day ever, like $1,000, and he celebrated on Twitter, so he wouldn't mind me saying this. But then, he had his best day ever, $1,000, first time he's ever had $1,000 day, and then before you know it, he's doing that over and over and over and over. His systematic slow growth.
Then I saw him post a 5K day.
Yeah, and it happens fast, but it's about getting the consistency. And he worked his ass off for years. He would trade 100 shares at a time, and now people would laugh at him, right? People would laugh at him when he was, 100 shares, ha ha ha, you're making like $5. Ain't nobody laughing now.
That's right. And that's what it's all about, man.
Yep,
I
he's
started out
laughing
the
now.
opposite way. I started out banging. Once I finally got lucky and got a big account, then I'd be doing 5,000-10,000 shares and losing my ass. I
He
had to
did it
start all
slow
over.
and steady, and he did it his way. He did it a good way, and it works for him. And now he's killing it. But anyway, that's my little last tidbit.
Exactly. Just take it slow, and that's what I try to do these days. If I can make my money, get out, and just don't worry about the markets. Like they'll be there on Monday.
Yeah,
They'll
like
be
I
there
can.
or Tuesday this week. But you get what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm at a point now where I've talked about it and I put it out there in the room. Whatever, but I'm gonna be taking more days off in the summer, right? Summer, kids are home, I'm home. I told you the other day, you get like 10 good summers with your kids. But anyway, that's a whole other thing.
Amen.
So we answered all the questions we had. We went over our charts. I think we're good. We're over an hour. It's a holiday weekend. I know we want to go do stuff. I know people want to go do stuff. So let's just go do stuff.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in to do stuff.
Same. All right. Well, big dog, I'll holler at you this weekend. We'll be talking. Wealth team,
Absolutely.
if you're listening, I'll hit you up this weekend. We'll figure it out, time it up, chop it up, cover some stuff. And everybody else, have a good holiday weekend. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Appreciate the support, the comments, the likes, the subscribes, all the stuff. Yeah, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir. So anyway, yeah, like, subscribe, share, all the stuff that all the cool intros, outros say. And until the next one,
Let us know what you think.
indeed, peace.
Peace.